Welcome. You have reached review time with Imperium. Today's review is When the Lights Turn On, a Quibi original. Let's get into it. I did another review. I did a previous review from a Quibi original called The Stranger, and Quibi is another streaming platform out there that you gotta get to watch their content. They have some decent content out there. Um, and the way they do their movies, they kind of give it to you in episodes, and instead of just playing out the whole movie. So in this particular movie, you had some cast members that you may or may not be familiar with, and in particular, you had the lead in the film is Chosen Jacobs. He plays as Charlie Chambers. He played also in the It remake movies. He played in there. Queen Latifah, she played as Detective Grasso, and that's pretty much for familiar characters. But the storyline is themed in 1995. Charlie in his town, they're in high school, and pretty much there is a murder in a high school, and the murder is Becky Monroe, and she's in high school, and not Becky Monroe. I'm sorry. Uh, Man, my bad. It's Chrissy Monroe. That's Becky Monroe's the sister. So Chrissy Monroe and the high school teacher got a fling going on, and he lures her out the house, and while he's in the car talking to her, some mysterious man with a hood jumps in the car with a gun, has them go off in a woods somewhere, and he kills has them get into their underclothes, and he shoots them both. And so that's how the movie pretty much starts off. And of course, Charlie is riding his bike through this forest, and he sees Chrissy and the teacher dead. And so now the suspects are all in the town. And Chrissy had a boyfriend named Brad, and he became a suspect at first, and they parted him in questioning. And then it was the town's knucklehead that always Casper, and they barred him in for questioning as well. And so that's pretty much the plot. Charlie wants to write about the murders, and then he goes and he questions a bunch of people in the town, and it starts a whole chain of events. Casper, who was the town suspect because he was basically always getting in trouble and stuff, he didn't do it. Only reason why they suspected him to do it because he did ride through there the night of the murders, and he seen the bodies, but because he didn't he knew his reputation, he just hurried up and left. Meanwhile, Becky Monroe, the little sister, but she's not really the little sister. They probably she is the little sister, but probably like a year or two apart. The ex-boyfriend Brad, he started taking to her because she reminded her, of course, of her sister. So he started taking her, liking her, but Casper started liking her as well. So she really started getting into Casper. So Brad was hating, and so he ran an interference with the parents, let her know that she was messing with Casper, and the parents forbidded her to mess with him. And so there was this like high school party. Everybody's supposed to Halloween party. Everybody's supposed to meet there, and she couldn't go with Casper, of course. So she manipulated Brad to come pick her up because she knew her parents would let him take her to the party, and she just was using him to get to the party so she could be there with Casper. Meanwhile, Charlie is narrating this movie the whole time. And so at the party, of course, Casper link up with Becky. They go upstairs, do their due, and then they run dirt on Brad, pretty much like, where's your date? And so he gets pissed. So him and Casper eventually get into it, and Casper beat him to a pulp, beat him down real bad. But all what that did was highlight the town, everybody seen him, showing that he could be capable of doing that to Chrissy and that teacher. So he left and never returned. He basically skipped town. Meanwhile, Becky, she went into isolation. She dropped out of school, and she had blonde hair, but then she dyed her hair a different color. So Charlie, who was like the neighbor, he ended up getting like into her, and he was giving her books and stuff like that. And then he found out that, they had a lot in common. So he really got into her. And the girl he was messing with, he kind of like brushed her off because he was more into Becky. And one night, I think they went to the movies. And after the movies, she was like, you want to come over? And, my parents ain't home. So that's like the, I want to jump your bones type situation. And he was like, nah, I got a paper to write. And he, pretty much just left out of the car. And he went in the house. And on her way walking home, and when she lived like right across the street in a cul-de-sac, and in her way walking across to home, the neighbor was pretty much like, hey, my daughter went away to college, and aren't you into music? And she was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, well, she went away to college, and she got a bunch of music, and I was pretty much going to throw it away. I wanted to see if you wanted it. And she's like, yeah, I'll come check it out. And then he said, come on right now. So when they showed her walking over, you already know that's a flag right there. Older man, teenager, inviting him into the house. That's a problem. And it showed his footprint in the snow because he was shoveling snow. It showed his footprint. And you already knew right then and there. The fact that when he called her over, you knew it was suspect. And her parents was at home. So you already knew that was suspect right there. So as Charlie was narrating, he pretty much narrated that was the last time he ever seen her. And he went to school, and she never showed up to school. And then he came home one day, and the cops was everywhere. And he walked up and said, what's wrong? And they said they just found that those people's daughter in the lake. So she had a funeral, and then the parents moved away. A new family came in, and then he just narrated some more and pretty much said they finally found that the neighbor was the one who did both killings, and he was the dentist. He was the dentist in the town. He was a serial killer, and he just used to watch both girls growing up, and he couldn't live with the fact that they was just living a happy life or whatever. So that was it. And it went off just like that. Like, it was like kind of like it went along. There was a build up, and then it just stopped. Boom. I said, wow. Okay, that was it? All right, that was it. So out of my 4-star rating system for this movie, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 4 stars. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you never heard of Quibi before, you could download their platform and start watching their movies. They got some decent content over there. Till next time.